Welcome to Moms in Real Estate. I'm so excited today because I am doing something I actually have never done before. I'm sitting in Ohio in my friend Whitney's living room with her friend Stephanie, and we're doing this podcast from there.
Welcome to the travel studio.
The travel, which I've always wanted to do a travel podcast. So this is like really fun for me. Why don't you guys introduce yourselves?
Sure. So I'm Whitney Abraham. I'm the founder of Your CMO & Co. It is a fractional chief marketing officer agency where we support female founded businesses and we handle all of their marketing efforts so they can show up and run their business the way they want to.
And I'm Stephanie Hanna. I have a business called The Other 85, where we focus on professional development. The name comes from the idea that 15% of job success comes from the hard technical skills, and the other 85 is what we focus on. So relationship building, networking, having difficult conversations, setting boundaries. And then I co-host a podcast with this one.
So I love that. When I first heard about your business, I was just like, that is so freaking smart. I absolutely love that. And so obviously you guys just heard they're not in real estate, and this is the Moms in Real Estate podcast. But what I really wanted to talk about today is, you guys know I have such a heart for community, and I love collaboration over competition. And so here I am sitting in front of two people who've collaborated on a podcast together, and they're such dear friends. So I want to talk about how having collaboration over competition type of mentality has helped you guys in your business. So is there a time, maybe Whitney, you could start us off where you can think of like, okay, I really want to talk about like collaboration and how it's helped you?
Well, I think in general, I have always had a heart for the idea that there is collaboration over competition, but I have not always had the lived experience that was true. And so, I think in female-led businesses, unfortunately, one of the things that you have to fight through is the fact that there are these communities of women that say there's collaboration over competition, but it's not really actually the case. And so I found myself in a couple of separate female-led communities where that was kind of the circumstance. And because of that, I think maybe I was a little bit jaded about what was possible. But Stephanie and I have been collaborating for years with each other. And the really cool thing is that just because a lot of larger groups that are like that don't really walk the walk doesn't mean that it's not possible for you to find it. And it's been really beautiful for us to collaborate together because it is a true, genuine, sincere place where we can support each other and do things together without any ego.
Yeah, I think that it's so true because I actually say this to people. I'm like, we actually believe in collaboration over competition. I feel like people throw that around a ton right now.
Yeah, it feels almost dumb to say it because I don't trust 90% of the people when they say it.
I know. Are you actually walking the walk?
Yes.
Yeah. And there is. But if you are feeling like what Whitney's saying or what we've both experienced, it is out there. Just keep looking.
Yes.
So what about you?
Yeah. So, it's funny. I'm trying to think, even when I was starting The Other 85, it was early on, in our friendship. And I think she kind of gave me the nudge because she had a couple of businesses by that point to do it. And then as we kind of each went in our parallel journeys with our own businesses, we realized it would probably make a lot of sense to come together for the podcast and other sorts of things because we just saw all of these overlaps in confidence in the work that we were doing. And we were in totally different industries.
Yes.
It would be wild. We would be meeting for dinner and we would have conversations about our clients. And I would be talking about entrepreneurs. And I'm like, okay, well, they're struggling with their mindset. They really are lacking confidence. They're all these things are happening. And then she talked to me about the lawyers she was supporting. And she was like, it's so wild because they're struggling with their confidence and they're struggling with their mindset. And so while they were totally different industries, we were literally having the same things that we were walking our clients through. And that really forged our bond and trying to talk to each other about how are you supporting your clients? Here's something that I said with my client and it really helped. And so we were kind of trading ideas on what would support them.
That.
And that's really where it started.
Yeah. And it's just hearing such a different perspective than you're used to, especially coming from a different industry. And I really believe that we go further together. And you guys might feel like this too, but there's so many, especially when you have so many different legs of things going on in your business. Could you do this podcast if it was just you? Probably, but don't you feel like you guys do it so much better together?
Absolutely.
Yeah. A of all, it's harder when you go alone. And B of all, it is
lonely.
So lonely.
Yeah. And when you have the right match, I mean, it makes a world of difference because I think we didn't know it at the time, but it just turns out that our strengths complement each other really well.
And also one thing that I want to point out to you, if you're looking for people to collaborate with, like, don't be afraid to look at your polar opposite.
Yeah.
Because like we are different. Like we are so different. Our personalities are different. The way we see things are different. She's like very like pragmatic and analytical. I'm like super emotional. It's just we're very, very different people, but I think it makes two halves of a whole. So don't feel like you need to look for someone that looks and sounds like you to be able to collaborate with them. Be open-minded about what someone that's different from you could bring to the table.
Yeah. Can you, Stephanie, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Can you tell me about another time where you have collaborated with somebody in your business that's just worked out really well for you?
Yeah. I mean, I think that having the positive experience with WIT has made it more comfortable to kind of reach out. And we've brought our friend Kim in and we do a women's conference. We've collaborated with our friends Simi and Holly. And so there've just been lots of these different opportunities where it just seems very natural to kind of like, well, I know this person and I trust them. And like, you know, it works really great when Whitney and I collaborate. So like, why don't we invite them in and see what happens?
Yeah. Have you ever had a situation where you've collaborated with somebody and it went south?
Yes. So my business is like relatively newer, I would say. So not so much in that realm, but so many examples come to mind from corporate America, like law firm life, you know, young lawyer life, where it is kind of like a cutthroat culture and it's very competitive and people will, you know, I remember touring a law school and the librarian, someone asked, is it really true that, and this was back in the day when, you know, you used books and you didn't research everything online, but someone asked the librarian, is it true that sometimes students rip pages out of books because that's where the answers are to certain questions? And the librarian was like, oh, it doesn't happen a whole lot here. And it just blew my mind that that was a thing, right? That like this industry, it's normal or asked about if you're sabotaging your peers by you know, getting rid of the answers.
Yeah.
So kind of coming up in that culture in a workspace, I did experience a lot of trying to trust people and then like getting burned. Or trying to like have a study partner who then like took your outline and you never heard from them again. Or, you know, just all these little instances where I was like, hey, I thought I was trying to be a good friend and we could help each other. And that was not the case. So I feel like it's definitely happened. I think as you get older and wiser, you become more clear on who it makes sense to collaborate with and not collaborate with.
And the examples of all those professional collaborations that you gave, like, I think it's important to note that those people that you were collaborating with, they were like deeply vetted, good friends that you already built a significant level of trust with. So like when it comes to a professional collaboration, you're not always going to have that deep of a relationship with someone before you decide to collaborate. But I think it benefited you. Like in knowing that whatever it is that we do together, like there's going to be mutual trust and respect and we're going to work together, you know?
Yeah. So why don't we actually talk about, Whitney, for you, have you had something that's gone south or where it was like, hey, this isn't working anymore and it might not even have been a bad thing?
Yeah. I mean, plenty of times I've had so many things in business where maybe it's not even necessarily bad. It's just like, I'm realizing that we're going in different directions and it doesn't make sense anymore. And like, perfect example of this is like my dear, one of my best friends, Kim, and I have a joint venture together that both of our businesses are growing in different directions. And like the idea of not working with her is heartbreaking, but only because I just want to be around her, not because I'm in love with the work. Right. And so I think be brave enough to say, we can sunset a thing that we're doing together, but still maintain deep connection and friendship and relationship with each other and cheer each other on. There are so many things that we can do together in the future, right? But like be willing to let things sunset when they're no longer a great fit, even if the relationship is still amazing.
Well, your guys' relationship's so great and you've built trust so you can have those conversations. And I think that that's definitely the point I wanted to get across.
Yeah. And it is like, it's one of those things where honestly, we danced around the conversation for months because she would say, things are getting really busy. And I'd be like, And then I was just like, I can't face it right now, you know, and it took us a little bit of time to get there. But then, you know, once I kind of warmed up to the idea and I kind of saw the writing on the wall for her, and then things really got super busy for me. I was like, oh my gosh, you've been trying to tell me this and you've been so gentle with me this whole time because you knew I like wasn't ready yet.
Oh my gosh.
She's so sweet.
She's literally the best. You guys know Kim. She's been on the podcast.
The best.
And so an example like I have with even this podcast. So I had a Facebook group that had 2,000 people and it was so passive because it was just like posting podcast episodes. And I had a girl approach me that I did not know. And she was just at the same brokerage as me. This is the same girl, Randy. And she said, hey, I see you have a Facebook group and I see there's 2,000 people in it. And I'm trying to find a community to plug into. Is there any space for me in Moms in Real Estate? And I kind of like sat with it for a little bit, stalked her a little bit. And I was like, what the heck? Like, I'm not doing anything in the group anyways. So she came in and within a year and a half, we're almost at 40,000 people in that group. And so I think too, like just really being open-minded to opportunities and feeling it out. But would you guys suggest like in partnering with somebody in business, have you guys like always have an exit plan, right? And so I've learned that recently from a couple of my friends. Do you guys go into partnerships like that?
For sure. I mean, the thing is, with our close friends that we do collaborations with, I haven't gone into it having an exit plan because I deeply trust these people.
Yep.
But I think if I were going into this with like a person that wasn't like in the inner circle, I would so have like a roadmap. An exit plan. Honestly, I think I'm the kind of person that really couldn't. I don't know that I could open myself up to that kind of a partnership, like a business partnership like that with somebody that I didn't have that personal connection with.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, think through the worst case scenario, document like SOPs and like operation agreements, like be smart about who's in charge of what, who owns what, all that good stuff.
Yeah.
And even with Kim and I mean, we documented like shared ownership. I mean, we had paperwork, right? To make sure that we were both protected because that's what you do when you care about someone. You protect them.
Yeah. And I think too, more practically speaking, you know, good communication skills can be your exit strategy. Right. I mean, of course, I've got my lawyer hat on, like have all that stuff shored up. But then the practical side is, I mean, if for some reason something wasn't working and we needed to pivot, I mean, I know I could come to her and say, hey, we need to have a conversation about this.
Yeah.
I mean, that's like the best exit strategy is to do it together.
And I want to circle back to Randy reaching out to you because shoot your shot. Like what? Like, honest to God, I think it's so under like valued to just ask for what you want and you never know what could happen. Like if you want to collaborate with somebody, put it out into the world and see what happens. What are they going to do till you know?
Yeah, like I was saying earlier, the worst thing they could do is say no. And if you ask enough, you don't even remember it. Like if they don't say no, you're like, you literally moved on.
I mean, Randy had made 2 solid asks in this 15-minute podcast.
Absolutely.
And it turned out
you know
for
what
girl.
I mean?
Yeah. So if you're listening and you're thinking about it, like just freaking ask. Yeah. I totally agree.
Shoot your daggum shot.
I love that. If somebody is, you know, sitting out there and they feel like, okay, I really want to do more and want to find the right people, where would you suggest they look?
Okay. I know we're going to have different answers for this because I'm not the kind of girl who's going to go into rooms that like I don't want to be in. She gonna put herself in like whatever room. I'm not going to do that. But I will say like, what is it that you want to like spend your free time doing and get in rooms like that? Like start in a way, maybe you want to grow professionally, but you're like lacking confidence in networking with people. Start doing a thing that you love so that you'd want to show up and do that thing anyway. That's how I'd have to talk myself into it because it's not my natural inclination to like network and walk into a room of people I don't know. But Home Dog's going to tell you something different.
Yeah, I mean, so I do think that there is some value because it's just character building to go do something that feels so out of your comfort zone so that you have the proof that you can do it. It doesn't mean you have to do it every day, and that's probably a bad idea, right? But it means do it once to give yourself that proof that, okay, I can do this, right? And I can go in and I can talk to a person. Work with a coach. I mean, I have coached people on how to not be so awkward, right? Like law firms have hired me to come in and work with some of their top performing people, but clients don't like them because it's hard to talk to them. Right. So they're doing excellent work, but it's really hard for a client to pick up the phone and call them. And so we've worked on like your facial expression and your tone and the words that you use.
That would be really hard to coach people.
And, you know, and it's just those sorts of things. If that's not your strong suit, like, you know, find a way to flex the muscle a little bit.
Yeah.
And when I tell you that she walks the walk on this, like I am literally, I have watched this girl when she was running for like, she was running campaign races. I have literally watched her walk up to strangers with flyers. Like, hi, I'm Stephanie Hanna. I'm running for judge. And like, literally they're a stranger. They're not thinking about her doing anything like this. They're just trying to like walk through the grocery store.
Yeah.
And homegirl's like, hi, I'm running for judge. Like she'll put herself in a circumstance that opens her up to like negative response.
Yeah.
And she does it with ease because she's like, what are they going to do? Like, no, thank you. Or like, be a jerk to me. I'll just move on to the next one.
Yeah. And the reality is 90% of the interactions are positive.
Totally. I was thinking
And
like when you talk to a random, do you like small talk?
I can do, yeah.
I don't know if she likes it. She's okay at
chit chat. Yeah. I can sit and chit chat. Sometimes I'm like, we need to move on.
Yeah, totally.
And I can tell by her eyebrows when it's time.
But my husband's always like, oh, I just hate small talk. I'm like, I feel like I love it. When I'm in line somewhere and I'm just like next to somebody, I'm like, I'm going to find out anything I can about this person. And it's one of my favorite things. Okay, so let's put a scenario here. Like you guys are both starting a new business, brand new, not together, separate.
Okay. Yep.
And if you had to pick a person to collaborate and go into business with right now, who's an influencer, not a celebrity, an influencer, who would it be?
When you say influencer, do you mean like influencer in our small community or an influencer that other people would recognize and know?
Another person that somebody would recognize. So like mine is Matt Gray. He's like all the rave for me right now. I feel like he's just somebody I follow and I would die to go in business with him. So who would you guys have?
Joe Dispenza. Bye.
Oh yeah. That's a really good one.
I'm like not as well tuned in, but I would probably say Amy Porterfield.
Oh, she's great. Yeah, she would be so good.
I like that. I feel like she's like we're similar in a lot of ways.
She could definitely like launch the shit out of anything. Right?
For sure, like a pro.
I love that. Well, I've loved having you guys on the podcast. If anybody wants to find you, where do they go?
So you can listen to us at Capture Your Confidence. Our podcast drops every single week, or you can find us on the socials.
Yes.
What's your social?
Whitney Abraham.
Easy.
And mine is Stephanie_Hannah_.
Awesome. Thanks, girls.
Thank you.